Hey everyone, Miles here. Today we have a process video. I'm storyboarding for the first time, going straight from the ideation phase into a little bit of conceptualization. I am working on a short comic and I want to take you through the entire process from getting down the rough visuals to character art and going on to putting it to final. So, here's pretty much a rough idea of what we're working with today. A constable of a magic kingdom attending a magical fair finds illegal items and disarms them. We have two main characters, and that is the constable himself, who's moving through the fair and checking things out, and the magical merchant or painter who gets found out midway through their demonstration. So, as we can see, I'm giving myself a generous amount of space for this opening shot. Basically, how I envision it is we have a few tents. I want them to recede in a sort of fashion that gives me an impression of a bit of a weaving path. So we're going to have very close up of a tent right here, and we'll give maybe like a window. Um, Maybe we'll put like another sort of stall. And sort of see it. Very rough idea of things here. And our main character, the Magic Constable, or MC for short, I'm going to draw in as circle. And they're just moving through. So the notes that I have for this particular scene, as I continue a few more, maybe I'll just dot it with some people here. The MC, our MC, walks directly through weaving tents. Passerbys notice with quiet anticipation. So maybe I will sort of do my best to give an impression of there's the shoulders. Maybe give them sort of like a cap or something. Someone was already attending this tent. Have a little tassel. And they sort of notice someone's there. What else do I want to do here? I think we'll call it there. I'll give the constable a fancy hat. So for our next panel, the MC arrives close up at a stand and requests to observe an item with more interest. So close up with the features. Do I want it that close? Actually, I don't think so. Let me start with a bit of the big, medium, and small. So I'm still giving the constable there. This sort of impression of a hand. We have our hat. I don't I don't hate that for a hat. And I'll give you sort of the impression of the merchant. Uh, Maybe they have a ponytail. And we can get a few of the tents in the background so I can just remind you guys where we're at. I want to keep that sense that it is somewhat winding from where the constable's standing. You wouldn't have too much of a hard time finding your way out. Well, this is sort of out of the way. You can put sort of like a wagon. All right. The next page, sorry if we're kind of speeding through this, I will do a bit of a review and I want to go over some of the themes that are helping me to make sense of how I want the main character to move. But in this next scene, the merchant hands a cloth to the MC. So I want to give respect to the same sort of diagonal. I'd say at this point it's kind of interrupted by the action of the two. Have this sort of get the sort of hand right there. Tent. And we have the cloth right here on the table. I'll try to keep those triangles in the shot. I feel like that's kind of defining their silhouette at the moment. And we'll put her hand on her hip. This is an authoritative figure right here. And the MC waves before tipping the merchant. So saying goodbye. We have the merchant waving. Gotta give them some posts. Have a little fun with the signage. Um, Maybe they have a few scrolls, a few bolts of fabric, and we'll get a close up on that hat. There we go. And sort of into the arm, a nonchalant wave. Excuse my fingers. From our constable. And this is pretty much the tone that I want for DMC. One of the themes is ambition. The constable is young and wants to have a good run of their career. So she's already very familiar with all the people who are attending, as well as the business owners. And if she isn't, then this exchange will often be like the first image, pretty good, unless, of course, their wares are suspect. Three things that I want to portray with the Magic Constable is that they are well known with the public, an air of confidence to project stability to attendees of this event, and knowledge of the languages and the environment, even if it's rudimentary. I want to project with the poses someone who isn't taken aback. They're not trying to figure things out. They're very upfront and straightforward. So, moving on, the MC's shadow casts down the path as craftsmen and merchants turn to look. So, we have one amiable interaction, but now the Magic Constable is on the job, and that is exactly what I want to portray. So this time, I really want to accentuate. I'll even start right here with the edge of the shoulder, which is more of a triangle, giving it that edge, but The hat also and the rim have these curves. But the shadow cast should have at least these 3 points. Sorry, let me sharpen my pencil. I want to accentuate all 3 points as we have folks sort of leaning in, giving this impression of, well, okay, here comes trouble. I don't want to do too much to that. Yeah, sort of leaning out. Um, a lot of wagons out here. This one's sort of holding on to the frame. So it's time to get to business. The MC holds a component of a machine in light as a merchant pleads. So it's time for the inspection. For this shot, I thought a triangle would be pretty good. Where we have the merchant they are checking out this particular piece. And they are out front. So maybe that triangle isn't working at all. And then we have the actual merchant who's really giving this sense of, oh no, please, please, please be careful with that. It's very delicate. One arm right there. One arm right there. I think I can give hint of the actual contraption. We'll just do a little something here. Give it sort of like a basin shape. And then like another part right here. Maybe there's like smoke giving off from it. Next, the idea that I had for this panel, the MC inspects and scratches rune off the heel of a shoe. I actually want the Magic Constable to be seated. So maybe this actual area is more of a tent. So I'll give an indication of the opening of the tent. Here we have chair where the constable is seated. I'll just sort of gesture in right here. Are they wearing the shoe? No, they're not. They're not wearing the shoe. I think that would be a little disrespectful there. So, and let's say here's the shoe. And we're going to need one more leg. With the actual merchant in a pose that is more bowing forward and just let everyone know this is standard procedure. The hand. I'll give them. They're just in step. You can put something up here. More evidence of shoes. Just making this part up as I go. And lastly, the MC pinches powder between figures. I was trying to give a little bit of variation in all of these images. I don't think this will be the strongest one. I think it fits a little too closely to the first inspection panel. So I'm going to adjust this one into something that involves a bit more action. So instead of pinching powder, the magic constable stops a thief. So in this scene, I really want the energy to move out in this sort of direction, where we have the constable giving off this sense of stability still, just with one arm. I'm going to sort of block in this other character. Body is tilted this way. And the head gets tilted this way. And the limbs. So they're essentially getting caught right as they're trying to make their getaway. So I want to make sure I'm sort of catching that energy where they're kind of off balance. Sort of foreshortening of the arm is difficult. And I'll accentuate what's going on with the fingers of the hand. There we go. Hey. Feeling pretty good about this. We'll just give them more of like a cowl and the hood. There we go. Of course, we need somewhat of an audience. People who are sort of observing. I'm gonna give one an arm just to say, hey, what's that? And this arm can sort of be, how do I want this? I actually want this to sort of be mid stride. As if they just turn, constable turns and nab them. Okay, that feels good. One more person sort of looking over. It's not the first spectacle of the day, but they are sort of keen with interest. All right, so this is our introduction to the Magic Constable as a very faintly drawn figure. They move with confidence and for merchants that are attending the fair with no ulterior motive, it's perfectly genuine and nice interaction. But when they are on the job, then even those results can vary. If you're still hanging out, thank you so much for starting up with me and watching my process. I will have another video up tomorrow, and we'll keep this thing going till I create my comic. As a final note, this was all centering around the idea of ambition. That was a theme, and I was trying to display that with the actions of the constable. And next time, we're going to get into how ambition guides the actions of the painter. All right. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Until next time.